Well, James, I think we had another great day.
I think we had a fabulous day.
This is, every day has been very special and very unique, and we want to thank everyone who has put up with us.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing. Put up with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
We only do it for the free hot dogs and the free nachos and things like that. We have to be honest. But today was visiting yet again a remarkable place. Jim Hopkins Museum is a work of love. He's over the top. He's let it take over his house and built more garages and more space, and more is planned. And if you have a chance to visit Jim Hopkins Museum, it's very close to Bob's now Motorcycles, not Bob's BMW, because he's taken on Ducati. But that would be a wonderful
trip.
trip.
Jim Hopkins, the amount of history in that, crazy. I mean, it's just the passion, the love for just history, and then putting the history together.
Yeah.
I mean, just the signed works of art that he has, and and just everything. It's curated fabulously.
Hans Muth has been there and toured it, and Hans fell in love with the place.
Yeah.
He sent Jim his leathers and a bunch of signed paperwork and pictures and drawings, and it is truly a remarkable place. I have not seen any place like it ever.
Yeah.
Or heard of a place.
And having him let us into his home to look at that, to look at his personal collection. And it was great.
He's got some wonderful motorcycles, but if you want to see the racing trophy from a famous 1935 race and much more, he's got it.
Yep.
It's mind-boggling. You can't take it all in. We had dinner with Bob Hennig of Bob's BMW, now Bob's Motorcycles, and tomorrow we will visit with him. He'll show us around his dealership and his fabulous museum. And Bob is open essentially all day tomorrow until probably 10 p.m. to do minor service on people's bikes on their way to the rally. Plus camping is available there tomorrow night. So thank you very much for looking in and following us. We appreciate it. And if you have any complaints, don't send them our way. Thank you. Good night.
So we are here at Jim Hopkins. Wonderful museum.
Welcome.
And thank you, Jim, for having us.
Sure.
So Jim just quickly showed me around, and I will tell you what a wonderful set of items Jim has here.
Yeah.
And the history is just...
Thank you. The focus here really for me is I just collect the things that I like, and there are bikes here, but I love the people items that are associated with BMW and BMW history. So you're going to see a lot of things that are related to the people who love motorcycles, love BMW motorcycles, and rode and raced them. Yeah, as you can imagine, this is the room that has most of the early history of BMW. This is a 1927 R42 in original condition. I'm just going through here quickly because this is there's so much time it would take to cover everything that's in here. That's an oil painting that was made by a Baltimore artist for this room. Ernst Diosi, sculptor. That's a turn-of-the-century sculpture that was made, and I got in the collection. The M2B15, the first engine that BMW made before they made a motorcycle. This one was used on a Victoria Verk motorcycle. This is a 1949 Jimmy Simpson fastest lap trophy that was given to a racer at the Isle of Man TT in 1949. The first year they made these bronze trophies to give to the attendees. If you know Max Fritz, you'll see him in most books on the first or second page. This is he's the one that designed the M2 B15 and really did a lot of work with the R32. This is a 1934 document that's actually signed by Max Fritz and his brother. Really early document. These are some
Jim, what is the significance? I know everything has one. What is the significance of this back here? The mannequin.
Well, this mannequin is named Liesel. She's one that was designed by Adele Rootstein. And this is Adele Rootstein right here. She made some of the absolute most fabulous mannequins in the 1950s. So I seek them out because the leathers are great. That set of leathers is probably, you know, someone maybe can find out or correct me, but I think they're probably 30s. But they have a BMW logo on them, and that's what's really rare about these, because they're not made by BMW, but they have a logo and they fit her perfectly. And Hans Muth named her Liesel. These are bronzes from turn of the century that I've just found along the way and digging and looking and searching.
Please do tell me about this handbook, please.
Oh my gosh, so we talked about the M2B15 engine being the first engine. They made that engine before they made the motorcycles. This is the actual original mint condition M2B15 handbook that came with it.
How many of them are in the world?
1921, and that would be, you know, I'm trying to get a picture of the engine. There you go.
Look at that. Wow.
Look at that. 1921, telling you how you're.
How many of them would be in the world?
I don't know where you would find
Another one.
a new. Peter probably has a few.
Yeah.
You would think, but that's the handbook that came with it.
Wow.
This came off of one of their airplane engines.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that came back from the war with that handbook from a soldier who had a long story, so I won't go into it. But they came off of one of the airplane engines. Let me turn the lights on this. This is oh boy, so much time to go over really what's in here. But those of you who know Ernst Henna, he set land speed records from what, 27 to 37, something like that. A whole 70, 80 land speed records in that time period. A lot of the things in here belong to Ernst Henna. These photographs came out of his estate and were photographs that he had in his office. These were his pens. These awards were given to Henna. These are original photographs of him that should not appear in any books anywhere. This is a caricature he often signed of himself. And here in the United States, we had tobacco cards that were baseball players back in the day. Well, in Germany, their tobacco cards were Ernst Henna. And these are tobacco cards from the 20s and 30s. This is a signed document from his dealership. I'll tell you what date was it signed, 33. That's his signature there. He had a Mercedes and BMW dealership, and that's actually an original photograph I found of Ernst Henna's dealership from the 1930s.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. And that is such an iconic picture right there. It really is.
It is.
That is such an iconic picture. Wow, that's gorgeous.
So these were him were signed.
I like the 1930s. Wow, everything is just gorgeous.
This is a hood ornament.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and if you can see behind it, it was taken from that photograph, I believe, of.
Interesting.
Yeah, of Henna. This came out of Timisoara, Romania.
Okay.
It's a trophy, a 1928 trophy. And if you look in that history in 1928, that area in Romania was settled by Germans. That's why they were racing BMWs.
Interesting.
That came out of Israel, landed here.
The amount of searching and that you must do.
I do a lot. I do a lot to find the best. The best things that are the most eclectic.
Yeah.
This is a rare signature of Rudolf Schleicher.
Okay.
He was giving an award to, it looks like Virgil Krauss there, but this is one of the really, this is him in what you see in the books. That's Rudolf Schleicher in the books, but that's an older version of him. In the 1930s, when someone won a race, they would get trophies for the race from whomever was sponsoring it, and then BMW, if it was a BMW rider, would make this pocket watch for the racers. I didn't know what they were, and there's very few of these that exist. I contacted BMW Archives, and they sent me this photograph. They said, this is the one that belonged to Josef Mueller.
Wow.
So that's in their museum. So just to show me what I had there. So they were pretty surprised, and it's like, we're,
and they probably only made one per, wow.
This is a 1920 motorcycle racer, carved pipe, one of one.
Totally cool.
Totally cool. That somebody was really talented there.
Yes.
This is the this is the advertisement for the R42 behind you here, and this would show, you know, the workings of your motorcycle's engine.
Oh, interesting.
So the Isle of Man just happened this weekend. Schwarzmeyer was the first non-Brit to win the Isle of Man TT on a German bike in 1939. He was the first to get it done, and this is a rare card signed by him. This is just a stamp signature, but that's rare, signed by him in 1939, the year he won. These are all documents signed by him, and this is from his dealership, a document that he signed in 49. So this is the Hans Otto Butenut collection right here. These trophies are all belonging to this iconic racer. This is him and his wife in front of his trophies a while back. He died in 1997, raced from 57 to 97, and was contacted by an auction house in Germany whose estate was going to sell these one at a time at auction and fly to the wind. And I told him that I would try to keep the collection together.
As one collection.
Yeah, these are 14 Isle of Man trophies with all of the badges that came with the Isle of Man trophies at the time. But he was prolific beyond measure, and then these were personal items of his that came with his collection, along with all of his photographs and videos and books. These leathers are really early, 1920s probably, from Hilbert, Germany, and one of the things that makes them so cool is that they still have the original baskets that they were made and shipped in. So if you got, for example, let me look here, if you got one of these baskets are really terrible to find, but if you bought one of those, you would get the basket, and then it would have
The
leathers, and the helmet's not so good, but leathers, your pants, your boots.
Boots, everything.
And you put them in here, and you could strap this up and then travel with them. So for those of you who know BMW Sidecar history, all of these items here belong to Helmut Fott. He won the World Championship in 1960, and then in 1968, after being injured, was the first person to win a World Championship on a home-built machine and beat BMW at their own game. These are his trophies and a number of his awards. Over here, George Auerbacher is his trophy collection and Isle of Man trophies. And this is well, his trophies are also here. And these are some of his trophies over here displayed in his badges.
Wow.
And his Isle of Man trophy and some of his other things.
Wow. Just the fact that you were able to put this many pieces together.
It just took, it's a lot of time and just digging and digging. This fender right here, Hans Ottenberg and Josef Sillinger were top BMW racers. In 1968, that's them winning at the Grand Prix of the Netherlands. The next week in July of 68, they went to the Grand Prix of Belgium. This is them on the last lap, and they were killed on that last lap. And George Auerbacher, who was in second place, won the race. And this is the fender from that wreckage, and it's the only piece of the wreckage that survived. Someone probably went out and grabbed it, put the article on it, because you can see there's a picture of the article, and then kept it for years and years. And I got a call from an auction house saying, "Hey, we do cars, but we think we have a BMW thing. Are you interested?" So, well, way cool. Yeah, I think in most of the things that you see, rarely in the history books and the places you go do you see women's history. So trying to change that a bit, and I really enjoy getting things from women who have been famous and not so famous, but who have ridden BMW motorcycles.
Yeah.
And to start right there, well, here's another mannequin. This is Magda with an early leather jacket. That's another Adele Rutstein mannequin killer. Okay, so over here, most of you probably know Elspeth Beard, and Elspeth's been here a few times, and so I won't tell her story because you all know it, but this is the canteen that she took around the world with her. She has very few items left from the trip. And that's a photograph of her, the only one drinking from that. This is Anne-France d'Hauteville. She's a BMW rider and a fashionista. She was the first woman to actually ride around the world on a motorcycle. Elspeth was the first Brit, and she sent her leathers from one of the books that she had written to be here.
And these are her leathers.
They're her leathers, yeah. I got to introduce you to these three women because this is happening even as we speak. Lorraine Chittock, Tiffany Coates, and Nicole Espinoza are in the process of making a movie that's been to Sundance, and I think they're trying to get it ready to hopefully go to Netflix. It's called Rallying for a Wild Life, and we helped them get over the finish line. And these are the three helmets from the movie, from Lorraine and Tiffany, and I'm sorry, Nicole and Tiffany Coates. So you might be seeing that movie coming to Netflix sometime soon. So some of you may know Anke Eve Goldman. These photographs appear everywhere in literature and magazines, and she was one of the pioneers of motorcycling and racing. And this is an original letter that she had sent to Gerald West in the United States in 1961, trying to learn more about women's riding in the United States.
Interesting.
What you're looking at right there is the world's fastest BMW motorcycle from about 2014 to 2018. Andy Sills, if you come around here, this is Andy right here, and his wife Erin on this bike that set a land speed record at the Salt Flats. And he passed away shortly after he set the record, and I purchased this from San Diego BMW. And his wife Erin broke his record on this bike in 2018. She was planning on using this bike to break his record, and we talked at length when I bought this. Told her, hey, if you want to come get it and break his record, have at it. Bring your team and come get it. And they decided to build her another bike when they decided to do that. She broke his record, and when she did, she wanted her helmet to be next to his.
Oh, interesting.
And brought their leathers from these photographs. But so it's no longer the world's fastest, but it was for a while.
But it's still the world's coolest.
Valerie Thompson is the first woman to go over 300 miles an hour on a motorcycle. And she did 328. And these are some leathers that she had for setting other land speed records on BMWs. And when she went 304 miles an hour, she wasn't wearing leathers, she was wearing a flame retardant suit. So she sent the outfit she was wearing under the flame retardants to be here. So that went the whole 304 miles an hour with her. So I don't have to probably tell anybody who Reg Pridmore is. Just an incredible racer, but what a really good man he is. He's just, from the times I've got to know him, he's a really good man, as well as his wife Gigi. But what you're looking at here is, this is the helmet that Pridmore was wearing, that Reg was wearing when he won the 1976 Superbike Championship, the first one. And these are some of the helmets he wore in other races. This was the T-shirt that his racing team wore for those first Superbike races, and this was the one he was wearing when he raced all of the races. They're his leathers from that period of time. And beside him are Gary Fisher's leathers. He donated those to the museum a while back. He just passed away recently.
Maybe a little bit of background on who Gary Fisher was.
Well, if you look right up here, back in the Superbike Championship, you had Steve McLaughlin, and you had Reg Pridmore, and you had Gary Fisher. They were the three riding the R90Ss. And some say Gary was the fastest of them all.
Oh, really?
He broke down twice in it, but he was part of that really trio back then who was really kicking butt. I don't know if many people know, but Gabby Giffords was a motorcycle racer in college, and she rode BMWs. This is a picture that she sent and signed recently with her BMW, and she sent her the helmet that she raced on, along with a photograph of her racing in it, to be here in the collection. Kim Kraus was the first woman to be selected to compete in the GS Trophy Championships. Most all of you know the story of Hans Muth and his fame and his genius, and he's been here a couple of times, and these are the original drawings from his bikes. You see these in a lot of the books that he'll show, but these are the drawings. He sent them to be housed here. This was the original drawing of the R90S that was first sent to BMW.
And it's interesting that
That he took to the board to say, this is my idea, what I'm looking at.
it's interesting that the first drawing, it didn't change very much from
No.
the first drawing to production.
It kind of went from that and then to that, and you see this in a lot of the magazines, or you know, that concept, and then and ended up and became that.
Ended up the iconic.
And of
R90S.
course, the R100 RS, with that magnificent machine. These are his gentleman's leathers, and he sent them. And if you spin around right there, Manuela, who he named, is wearing his leathers there.
He was quite thin in those days.
He must have been really thin. Yeah, absolutely. But he is absolutely an amazing designer,
He is.
amazing man.
And he's also a good person as well.
Yeah, I have a police bike in pretty much original condition. Maria Costello was the first woman to stand on the podium at the Isle of Man TT, and she is, I think, she held the fastest lap for a woman for a long time, and she's became a member of the Order of the British Empire, and this is her getting her award from Prince Charles, now King Charles. If you haven't read her book, it's so good. She was with BMW for a short time. When she sent the leathers, she had a hard time parting with them because this is the patch that she got with her awards from Prince Charles.
That is the actual patch.
Yeah, for being a member of the Order of the British
I
Empire.
can see how she would have had a hard time parting with that.
Yeah, so that's really a cool feature on that. This porcelain platter here was Continental Tire in 1937 commissioned the Fürstenberg porcelain factory to make these for the top German racers of 1937. And on the right are the car drivers, and on the left there going up are the motorcycle racers. Not very many of these exist. And so when I got this platter, I started researching all of the car racers, and these are signed photographs of all of the early day car racers. For anybody that knows, the guys from Mercedes, from Crucchiola to Bernd Rosemeyer and the whole bit. Bernd Rosemeyer became married to Ellie Beinhorn Rosemeyer. She was the Amelia Earhart of Germany and more famous than him. And after they got married, he really lit it up on the racetrack and became more famous than her. But this was their, when they got married, this was the card they sent out to their friends.
That's cool.
Him racing her, doing a version on that. She said in her book that he became a better flyer than her.
Well, good afternoon. We are at the Jim Hopkins Museum in Maryland, having a great time. And what we're going to do now is ask Jim if he will sign the famous front fender of James Wonder's replica ISDT bike.
Here we go. Do you know where you want to sign it? I want to sign it there.
I'll sign it someplace first.
Wherever you want. That's where I want to sign it. There you be.
You guys should sign it inside and say, make you look.
Yeah. That's right.
You can delete mine. It'll be fun to see everybody. You can delete
Do
mine.
yours.
It'll be fun for everyone to see yours.